one of the first things that stops people from getting into podcasting. And I know that Paula is going to be able to share really well about how fear is an opportunity for you to be able to turn that around. So hello, Miss Paula.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm sure you're happy to be now in the guest seat.
Yeah.
While I interview you. I appreciate you interviewing Sherry Lee before, and you did a wonderful job. So to kick it off, like, we just need to know who you are. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, happy to be here. My name is Paula Kent, and I am an author, a writer, and a researcher. And I'm here because I have been fearful and I have failed. And I think, and just really have had the opportunity to learn from my own mistakes and really contextualize fear. So yeah, that's what I want to share from my own journey and things that have worked for me, and yeah, hopefully that, something that I say today maybe resonates, and we can all sort of, like Michelle stated, move beyond fear to fulfill the things that we hope and dream.
Yeah. And so you're coming at it from twofold. One of the research piece of you've researched into it, but you've also felt it. And so you can probably share some stories related.
I do have a couple.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now, the honest truth is that we all experience fear, right? That knowledge alone, it creates the fear of being fearful. And so you say that fear is an opportunity. What is it about fear that you believe creates opportunity? Because it kind of sounds like it's not true.
It does. And I mean, you think about, Winston Churchill, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So this is something, it just runs through us all. And it's an organic and it's biological. Our earliest ancestor needed fear to save their lives. And yet life and everything has changed so much.
Yeah.
And it's not just fear of, a tiger attacking us anymore. Yeah. Now it's put into our social and cultural stressors. And one thing I just wanted to sort of share and start off with is this quote from Judy Blume. And I'm a little bit older. Judy Blume, she wrote that fantastic book that really resonated with me as a girl. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. But what Judy Blume really says, and it really struck me, was each of us must confront our own fears and come face to face with them, and how we handle that will determine where we go with the rest of our lives, and to experience an adventure or just be limited by the fear of it. And so for myself, when I was able to place fear and reframe it, it lost its power. And so, fear is an embodiment, and I felt fearful. It feels paralyzing in a way. And like Michelle says, it can stop you from an action, something that you're hoping for and dreaming.
Yes.
And that's where, by reframing it, we are interrupting our own preconceived notions of ourselves. And sometimes those preconceived notions keep us small and contained and cramped. And that's what fear can do for us. Now, before I go any further, excuse me, I really want to clarify, I'm not talking about mental health issues. Those are definitely, serious. We need professional help. And so living with depression and anxiety, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the times where fear just erupts over something that maybe is seemingly to someone else insignificant. And that's the fear that sort of Bloom talks about. And so whether it's a public speaking event right now, or really anything, or doing your own podcast, or standing up and speaking out in a moment with passion, those are things, and these are the ones that we can purposely face. So I've already sort of mentioned reframing fear is the opportunity, and we remove its powers. We no longer will, when you reframe it, and so that means stopping. It means breathing. and breathing into a space, we remove the power over. And now the fear is inside of us. We are leveraging the power within ourselves. And that, I think, is a really important point. Stop, breathe, remove the power over, and leverage the power that's already within us. There's a scholar by the name of,
let me grab that again, because stop, breathe, reframe, was it?
Reframe,
and
those,
leverage.
And do those things, and all of a sudden that power that you feel over, that embodiment of paralyzing and the I can't voice becomes the fuel, and rocket fuel. It's rocket fuel. And it's the I can.
Yeah. And you're just about to share a quote. And just before you do that, when earlier on my camera went off and I had no idea why, and it wouldn't come back. And there was this like, am I going to do the whole day without camera? What's going on? That thing. And so I'm glad that you've given us this process of like, stop, breathe, reframe, and leverage. So tell us the quote that you were going to say there.
Yeah. So Joseph Campbell, and I think this is really a big important piece. And what it means to me is, so Joseph Campbell, he's a scholar, an author, lots of different things that he's done, but he stated in an interview, I think it was about 1986, fear is that we fear losing ourselves, of giving ourselves to some higher end. And so that I take that to mean that we fear losing that safe, small spot. And Michelle alluded to it. What if I'm successful? Yeah. That's a real fear. And I don't want to discredit that safety in the comfortable place, because that's where it has gotten us here today. Like, we've been safe. We've gotten to where we are today. And that is a lot of power. And it's, but it's our old ways. And so as we can, do those things, we can stop, we can breathe, we can reframe. We're getting in touch with the extraordinary being that we really are. And we're going to pull out from that dark spot the fear. And once we do that and we examine it, there's the seeds of our potential, our passion, and our possibilities. And that's to me the power of reframing. Yeah.
So you've given us the idea of like bringing fear over from this dark side, right? Putting the light on it to bring the potential and the passion and the possibilities. But after reframing fear as an opportunity, like what's next? What happens then?
Yeah. So we pull it out, and the dark side of us isn't the nasty or whatever. People sometimes put it as dark and light. I think beautiful things happen in the dark, and I won't go any further down that path. But there's wonderful things in the dark, in the intimate pieces of ourselves, and so when we can reframe, and I'm going to be really honest, this is hard. It's easy for me to say and just, stop, breathe, reframe. It's hard. And it takes mental awareness. And that's why having the knowledge and the steps is so important. But the next part is we have to walk back. We have to deconstruct. And that's where everybody needs to engage their curious heart and their exploratory mindset. And that's not easy, because this isn't about sitting in guilt. No, it's not about feeling shame. This is not what it's about. It's about critical reflection, and critical reflection is substantially different than just remembering. So I just want to share a little story right now where I had to deconstruct fear, and in deconstructing it really changed my life. So I retired in 2017, and I jumped in, and I went, I'm going to do a master's. Yeah. And I did that. And I thought, there was all those other fears that I thought I had really worked through. And one of the things that right at the very end, where I was feeling really confident, fear erupted within me. And I had to finish a research project to be awarded my master's. And every I was paralyzed. I was insecure. I was too stupid. This was uninteresting. This was a piece of crap. It was poorly written. It was a full-on body. I cannot do this. I had to take that moment and reframe it. And as I reframed it, and this is really so humbling, is that I realized I wasn't afraid that it wasn't good. I'd done my best. I was afraid I wasn't going to get the A+ that I desperately wanted. Didn't need an A+, didn't need it. But that's what I wanted. And when I realized that, that's when I was able to deconstruct it. That's when the insights come. So you deconstruct it, really. You just tell yourself, you figure it out, but then all of a sudden you're going to gain some valuable insights. And my insight was that I had lived so much of my work experience and myself as being outside validation. And it was humbling to realize that I needed outside validation for my own ideas and my own thoughts and my own, to feel that I was valued, but not by myself. It was outside piece of it. And that humbled me. But what that insight granted me was peace. And more than that, it's grown into a defining insight that all I can do is my best. I have my best voice. That's it. My best ideas. That's how I now honor myself. And that today is a driving force in my work, in my research, in the engagement that I'm doing with aging and anti-aging, and in my life. And it's all we have to offer is, for myself, the insight is my best. And for every one of us, it'll be different. It'll be different to understand what that fear really is all about.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing the story of when you were fearful. And if I can be so bold as to say the funny reason that you were fearful of not getting the A+. And I love that you say, just do your best. That's what my mom used to say to me. But did you do your best? All I ask is you do your best. And so it's nice that you bring that back for me personally. But you speak of insight, honor, power within ourselves, and that other P word you said, peace. So how do we harness the power side?
Yeah, that's where critical reflection is so important, because we're talking about fear and the fear of failure and all of these pieces. And so as we critically reflect, we can unlock those insights.
Yeah.
And that's where the gems are. That's where the gems of wisdom are. Yeah. And so as we uncover and deconstruct, many of these are such long taken for granted messages that we never even questioned. And at one point, maybe they really were important for us, and they really protected us and kept us safe. But now it's about being vibrant and being bold. And that's the rocket fuel, because when we unharness possibility within ourselves, we don't know where it's going to end. When we can harness and understand through our insights, the passions that we hold. Now we're cooking with gas, right? and it's also about self-care. When we take the time to deconstruct what it is that's holding us back, what it is that we fear, or it's the saboteur or any of these, the ugly voices in our head, it's a gift of love we give to ourselves. And as we give this gift, as we breathe in this gift, we're clearing space, and all those gems that we have within ourselves, they rush in. It's like a vacuum. Like, we clear it out of that negative voice, that negative feelings, and in whoosh, rushes. And to go back to the Joseph Campbell question, statement. What we fear is losing ourselves. So we're fear of losing that safe space, that person who we know and like. But when we give ourselves that gift of insight, we are giving ourselves to that higher end. And we are beginning to transform ourselves and our mindset. So there's this really cool word called apotheosis, which it means the highest point in the development of something. And I really feel that we have within ourselves, if today you take some time to really look back at what have you been fearful for, you're now stepping onto a new path. And that path is a journey towards that. You know, we're never going to be the highest point, but we're certainly going to be on our way to being that.
Yeah. And you've mentioned Joseph Campbell a couple of times. When we've talked about Joseph Campbell, I don't know, a few years ago, maybe, I was so excited because I've studied Joseph Campbell. However, kind of an old guy, right? A lot of people might not be familiar with him. So can you just let our audience know a little bit more about who he is and what his influence has been on your life?
Yeah. So Joseph Campbell is a scholar. He wrote a book called A Hero of 1,000 Faces. And I think it was 1949 or something. And it's a bit dry. It's a scholarly, but what it is that it's the hero's journey. And, you know, just to sort of bring it into the 21st century here, you know, the hero's journey was really the basis of Star Wars. So you've got a hero and you transform through all of these different experiences. And with Joseph Campbell, he's influential because he's the book I wrote, Heroic Choices, is framed around a journey, very similar to what Joseph says is in our myths and our legends. So just the work that he did and he's done really resonates with me. And I do really believe that we are on a path of personal growth. And as we can gather insights, as we can fail, as we experience fear, those are the opportunities to learn. And so when fear comes up, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for you, because it's going to continuously come up. Okay, take the time. Why am I fearful? Take that breathe. Why am I fearful? And really deconstruct it, because all of a sudden that's just another sort of chink in fear's armor, and this possibility and this light comes through. So yeah.
And Joseph Campbell has his own model of the hero. The journey into the belly of the whale and the story of Beowulf and all that. But you did come up with your own model. And I think now would probably be a good time to move into talking about your book. And I know that you also have a gift for us. So maybe tell a little bit about the book and a little bit about the gift that you have for everyone in attendance.
Yeah, absolutely. So the book is the Heroic Choices, and it's really a journey of transformation. It's based on my own experiences. It's based on academic theories, Joseph Campbell being one of them. Also the way humans learn, the transformative power of learning. And so I've put that together, and what I've got for everybody is a link to the preface, the introduction, and the first chapter. And included in that is a PDF of my own, the journey and the cycle of transformation. And specifically fear is just towards the bottom of the circle. And that's where, I'm not saying hitting rock bottom, but that's the inflection point. That's where we start to go back up and start on our journey. So that's what I've shared with everybody. They would love for them to buy the book for sure, but read those 3 pieces that I've shared. Really start off, and then the journey, and you've got the PDF of the cycle. So
that's awesome. And I love how I was able to be witness also to your journey of writing the book and getting over the fear and the excitement then of it. And when you were talking about the fear and like, okay, here it comes, it actually, the vision that I had, if I can share, is of the roller coaster and that click, click, anticipation of like, oh boy. And then right at the top, you know how it seems to stop, that like, right. And I'm seeing that where the way you explain it is, that's the like, okay, fear is coming, but breathe into it. And this is going to be an exciting thing. And this is going to be a learning opportunity for me. And then the rush comes, right? Because you leverage it, like you said, in those 4 points of what to do. And so as we draw this to a close, Paula, let us know, like, what are some final messages that you have for our listeners, for our audience here?
Yeah, it's a great metaphor. I wish I had thought of it myself, of the roller coaster. I might just be stealing that one. But yeah, you know what? It's going to come back. Fear, like, it's not a one and done, right? This is, fear will erupt again. And I believe sometimes that the more we deal with our fears, these other little secret fears start to bubble up to the top. But reframing it is that opportunity. And it is the opportunity, and it acts as a threshold. And as we cross through that threshold, or as we hit the top, breathe, and all of a sudden, we're in for a big ride, we're going to get more insights, and it's going to enrich our lives. I cannot reiterate that enough. You can enrich your life by understanding your fear. And it's honest, critical reflection, which we walk back to our discomfort. Push through it, break out of that small cramped space, get out there. And it's going to feel risky, but we're pushing through our self-limiting beliefs, and we breathe that possibility, potential, and passion. And we're fueled. It is the fuel to achieve those hopes and dreams. So be bold and believe in yourself, because that's what fear really is about. It's just being bold enough to look at it and transform your own self-belief.
Awesome, Paula. And it's all a testament to the title of your book, Heroic Choices, right? We all have a choice to change how we view fear and how we use fear. And so I love that you brought us through that today. And I encourage everyone to grab the first chapter of the book, and then you'll be maybe swayed to pick up the rest of it. Did you enjoy listening to Paula? Thank you again, Paula. It's so great to have you walk us through that and to share the stories that you shared as well, and your practical tips.